Hello, beautiful soulmates. It's Whitney IY here, and you're welcome back again to this YouTube channel. And if this is your first time here, you're highly welcome. Please do well to hit the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop a new video. So in this video, we'll be making this beautiful blazer, and also I'll be showing you how to make a weft pocket. So if this is something you're interested in, then do well and keep watching and do not touch the dial. Here are some of the materials I'll be making use of. I'll be making use of the crepe material. I have 2.5 yards here. I'll also be making use of this suit lining. I got 2 yards for this. And also I'll be making use of the stay. This is important, very important, to give some form of firmness to your blazer. Also, I'll be drafting out this blazer on a pattern paper first before actually taking it to the fabric. So for that reason, I'm making use of the pattern paper, the tape rule, the rule, and also my pen. And you know, drafting a blazer or making a blazer is not really much of a biggie. It's really not that difficult. It's just you altering your basic bodice pattern by adding little tweaks here and there to your basic bodice pattern to get your blazer. So in this video, I'll be showing you all you need to know about drafting out a perfect blazer, a professional blazer. So I'll be drafting out the front pattern first. Yes, so let's dive right into the drafting of the blazer, and I'm starting with the front pattern. Now, the first thing in drafting out a blazer is you're going to come down from the beginning of your paper by 6 inches like this to get your top line. Now, you know, normally on your basic bodice pattern, you just come down by 1 inch to get your top line. But for a blazer, you actually come down by 6 inches. And the reason for this is that 6 inches is to accommodate the collar, be it a lapel or a notched collar, whatever collar you're going for, the 6 inches is to accommodate it. So go ahead and come down from the beginning of your paper by 6 inches, just like this. And after coming down by 6 inches, you go ahead and bring in a rule and connect the dots to get a straight line like this. And once I'm done with this, I'll move on to the next step. Now, looking at a blazer, especially the front of a blazer, the center front precisely, you take note that it overlaps a little and it has at least one button at the front to hold it in place. So for that simple reason, I'll be going in by 2 inches so that these 2 inches will accommodate the little overlapping and the button. Now, if you want your blazer to have more overlapping, you can go in as much as 5 inches or 6 inches. This is for those double-breasted blazer, but this blazer is not a double-breasted blazer. It's just a normal regular blazer. So I'll be going in by 2 inches. So you go in by 2 inches for your normal blazer. But if it's a double-breasted blazer, you go in by 5 inches or 6 inches. I think I'll make a video on how to make a double-breasted blazer by God's grace. So I'm going in by 2 inches from the center front like this, and I'll bring in my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line. So these 2 inches is to accommodate the little overlapping at the center front and the button, like I earlier stated. So I'll connect the dots together like this to get a straight line. Now that I have this, I can go ahead and start drafting out my blazer pattern. So take note that all my drafting will be done within this line. So these lines are my starting lines. Next step is to go ahead and mark out the shoulder measurement after dividing it by 2. So my shoulder measurement is 16 inches divided by 2 gives me 8, and I'll go ahead and mark out the 8. You can see the way my tape rule is being placed. So the next step is to go ahead and mark out the neck width and the neck depth. So you can mark out 3 inches, the regular 3 inches for your neck width and neck depth. You can mark that out. But for me, I just decided to mark out my specific neck width and neck depth. So my specific neck width and neck depth is 3.41, and that is what I marked out, and I'll connect the neck width to the neck depth. Now, on several of my videos, I have explained on how you can get your specific neck width or neck depth. But if you do not know how, just use the normal 3 inches for the neck width and 3 inches for the neck depth. Right now, it's time to mark out the armhole depth. Now, for a blazer, marking out the armhole depth is quite different from how it's done on your basic bodice pattern, in the sense that for a blazer, it is advisable you add 2 inches to your bust measurement before you making use of the formula. So let's say my bust measurements, okay, since my bust measurement is 41, my round bust measurement is 41 plus 2 inches gives me 43. Then I'll go ahead and use the formula for getting armhole depth, which is bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So meaning 43 divided by 6 plus 1.5, and that is what I'll make use as the armhole depth. So after doing that, I got 8.6. Yes, and that is what I just marked out. So I'm marking out the shoulder measurements here just to make sure I get a straight line when connecting this armhole depth back to the shoulder like this. I hope you understand. So you're going to still use the same formula, just that this time around you'll be adding 2 inches to your bust measurements for your blazer. So that is how you get the armhole depth for your blazer. Moving on, I'll come down by 1.5 inch here from the shoulder like this, and I'll connect this to the neck width. This is to get the shoulder slant or shoulder slope, and this is only done for the front pattern, meaning you only come down by 1.5 inch on the front pattern of your blazer. For the back, you come down by just 1 inch. So for the front, you come down by 1.5 inch to get your shoulder slant or slope. Now, next step is to divide your new bust measurement by 4 and mark it out. So you know the new bust measurement I'm working with now is 43. So 43 divided by 4 gives me 10.75, and that is what I'm marking out here. And I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect this straight down to get the chest line. And if there's any part you do not understand that sounds confusing to you, just drop your question on the comment section and I'll try as much as possible to respond to you. So now that this is done, we'll move on to the next phase. So take note that this line is the chest line. So for the next phase, you go ahead and mark out your shoulder to nipple measurement, which is also known as your bust point. So the shoulder to nipple measurement I'm working with is 11 inches, and that is what I'm marking out. That is from your shoulder to your nipple point, yes, which is also known as the bust point. So for me, I have 11 inches, and I'll go ahead and mark it out, and I'll bring in my rule to connect these dots to get a straight line like this. So this line is the bust point, the BP. Next step is to mark out the waistline, and for a blazer there is nothing like back waistline or front waistline, because the blazer is not really a fitted kind of outfit. It's, you know, just kind of there. So there is nothing like the front or the back waistline. So for that single reason, you'll be making use of your front waistline as your waistline for both the front and the back. So my front waistline is 17.5 inches, and that is what I'm making use of as my waistline for both the front and the back. So I'm marking out 17.5 inches, and I'll bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line like this. And this line is my waistline. Moving on, the next step is to determine how long you want your blazer to be. Like, take the measurement from your shoulder to the length you want your blazer to be. Where do you want your blazer to stop? So after deciding, you go ahead and mark it out. So for my blazer, I want my blazer to be 27 inches long. So I'll go ahead and mark it out, 27 inches long. So you go ahead and take your measurements on your client or on you, or on how long you want your blazer to be. So for me, it's 27. I'm okay with it being long. With it being 27 inches long, I'm okay with that. So it can even be more than 27. It can be 28, 29, 30. It's all depends on your taste, where you like it to stop, how long you want it to be. So for me, 27, and I've used my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line, and this is the blazer length. Now that this is done, I'll go ahead and mark out the dots line. So So to mark out the dart line, you divide your nipple to nipple measurement by 2. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. Divided by 2 gives me 4. And I'll go ahead and mark that out. Yeah, I'll mark it out on the bust point. I'll also go ahead and mark it out on the waistline, on the hip line, and on the blazer length. And please take note on how my tape is being placed. You can see where the 4 inches is starting from. It's starting from this line. And I'll go ahead and connect the dots to get a straight line like this. Next, I'll go ahead and impute the normal basic dart. That is half an inch on both sides of the dart line on the waistline. So half an inch here, half an inch here. And from the bust point line, I'll come down by 1 inch like this. And then on the hip line, so please don't forget to mark out your hip line or hip depth. So for me, my hip depth is 8 inches from the waist. So if you're working with a short person, it's 7 inches from the waist. An average height, 8 inches from the waist. A tall person, 9 inches from the waist. A very tall person, 10 inches from the waistline. So 8 inches from my waistline is what I've marked out and connected the dots. And this is the hip depth or hip line. So from the hip line or hip depth line, I'll go up by 2 inches. So you know this is how we do the normal basic dart. So that's what we are doing right now. So you go up by 2 inches from the hip line. And then I'm going to bring in my root to connect all of those points together to get 2 triangles lying on top of each other. So please just watch. So I'll connect these points back to the bust point as well, like this. And I'm going to connect this to these 2 inches I came up with from the hip line, like this. And here I have my normal basic darts. So the dart is here, it's completed. So now that the dart is here, the next step is to impute the round bodice measurement. So remember, I've done that of the bust. So for the waist, you divide your round waist measurement by 4 and mark it out. So my round waist measurement is 34. So 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.625 plus this 1 inch dart intake that is here gives me 9.625, and that is what I've marked out. So I'll go ahead and connect the bust to my waist measurement like this. Next, on your blazer length, you divide your round hip measurement by 4 and mark it out. So my round hip measurement is 43. 43 divided by 4 gives me 10.75, and that is what I'm marking out on my blazer length like this. And I'll connect this to the waistline like so. So now that I have this, the blazer pattern is almost completed. So next, don't forget to get your armhole curve. And to get your armhole curve, you take your measurements from your shoulder slope to your chest line, and then you bend your tape over like this to get the midpoint, or whatever you get, you divide it by 2, or you go ahead and bend your tape over like this, and the markings you get on your tape rule after folding it into 2 is the midpoint. So you mark that out on your armhole, and then from that midpoint you go in by 0.75. You go in by 0.75 like this, and then you connect these 3 points together to get your armhole curve. So if you do not have a curve rule to do this, no problem, not to worry. You can simply use your ends, but just make sure you get a perfect curve. So this is me using my curve rule to get the armhole curve, to draw the armhole curve like this. Now, because when wearing a blazer and when it comes to movement of the arm, you want to have some form of ease around the armhole. So it is advisable to come down by half an inch as well from the side armhole. So come down by half an inch from the side armhole and redraw the armhole. So come down by half an inch here and I'll redraw the armhole back. So this is just to give the armhole some form of ease. So I'll go ahead and connect like this, and this is it. So this is the new armhole. Once this is done, the next step is to go ahead and draw your shoulder dart. So to get the shoulder dart, all you have to do is to get the midpoint of your shoulder by placing your tape like this on your shoulder and folding it over to get the midpoint like this. So you can either fold it over to get the midpoint, or whatever you get after measuring your shoulder, you divide it by 2 and you mark it out. Then from that midpoint, you connect it straight down to the bust point like this. So you connect the midpoint of the shoulder straight down to your bust point to get the shoulder dart. So now that we have the shoulder dart, the next step is to create the notched collar. So this is the next step. Now, before we create the notched collar for the front pattern, we have to draft out the back pattern. It is very important. So we'll draft out the back pattern first before, creating the notched collar. So next, this is the paper I'll be using, the pattern paper I'll be using for the back pattern. So as usual, for a blazer, you come down by 6 inches from the beginning of your paper to get the top line for your blazer, top line or starting line. So I'm coming down by 6 inches like this, as you can see. So come down by 6 inches, and I'll bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line like this. And once I have this starting line or top line drawn out, the next step is to impute the shoulder measurement after dividing it by 2. So you already know the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. Divided by 2 gives me 8, and that is what I'm marking out here like this. And then I'll go ahead and mark out the neck width. So the neck width I'm working with is 3.41. I told you can make use of 3 inches. And then for the neck depth, you make use of 1 inch. So I'm marking out 1 inch. 1 inch is the standard back neck depth. So 1 inch it is. And I'm connecting the neck width to the neck depth like this. And next step, I'll go ahead and mark out the armhole depth. And remember the armhole depth you're making use of. So for me, it is 8.6 inches. That is what I also made use of for the front pattern. And I'm just trying to mark out the shoulder measurement here on the armhole depth, so that when I'm connecting the armhole depth to the shoulder, I'll get a straight line. So I'll go ahead and bring in my rule to connect the armhole depth to the shoulder like this. So now that I have this, the next step is to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant or slope. So you can see the difference. For the front pattern, I came down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant. But for the back pattern, I came down by 1 inch. And I'm connecting this back to the neck width to get that shoulder slant or slope. Now that I have this, the next step is to go ahead and impute your waistline measurements. So remember, make use of your front waist measurement as your waistline. So for me, I have 17.5, and that is what I'm marking out as my waistline measurement, like this. And I'll bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line like this. So next, on the armhole depth, you divide your round bust measurement, the new bust measurement, by 4 and mark it out. So for me, it is 10.75. Yes, that is what I also marked out for the front as well. And I'll connect this down to get a straight line. So this line is the chest line. So this is the chest line, and this is the waist line. So next step is to go ahead and impute your hip line. So for me, my hip line or hip depth is 8 inches, and that is what I'm marking out from the waistline like this, 8 inches. And I'll go ahead and also bring in my rule to connect the dots to get a straight line like this. Next step is to mark out how long I want this blazer to be. And obviously, I stated earlier on that I'm making use of 27 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark out 27 inches as well. So I'll go ahead and mark that out as well. So 27 inches. So you can see the way I do place my tape, right? So that is the right way to place the tape to do it. So I'll go ahead and connect the dots together to get a straight line as well, like this. So this is the hip depth line and this is the blazer length. So now that I have all of this, next is to do the back tightening. So for the back tightening, you go in from the center back by 0.75 like this on your waistline. And then you're going to connect this to the neck depth and also to the blazer length like this. So for a blazer, there is always some form of contour at the center back. So the reason for this back tightening, so I've connected this to the neck depth and I'll go ahead and connect this to the blazer length as well, like this. So now that I have this, it's time to mark out the dart line. So remember the dart bust span I'm working with is 4 inches, which I used for the front pattern. So I've marked that out on the waistline. Now for the chest line, if I mark out 4 inches for the chest line like this, I'm going to have a slanted line. So to avoid having a slanted line, I'll be adding this back tightening to it, so making it 4.75, and that is what I'll mark out on the chest line, on the hip line as well, 4.75. That is what I marked out on the chest line and on the hip line. I added the back tightening to the bust measurement, which is 4 inches. So 4 inches plus 0.75 gives me 4.75, and that is what I marked out on the chest line and on the hip line to get a straight dart line. So I'll go up by 2 inches from the hip line like this, and I've gone in and out on the waistline by half an inch, and then I'll go ahead and connect these points together like this. So I'll connect these 2 inches to the half an inch on both sides of the waistline like this, and I'll also connect this to the chest line like this. So this is it. So now that I have this, I'll go ahead and also get the midpoints of the shoulder to draw the shoulder dart. So I'll go ahead and place my tape like this on the shoulder, get the midpoint, mark it out, and then, bring in my rule to connect these midpoints to the chest line like this. So the shoulder dart is also ready. So now that I have this, the next step is to impute the round bodice measurement. So now you can see that there's some form of space on the center back. So you can go ahead and put back the inches that was took out, or you can just leave it. So you can put back half an inch, or you can measure whatever it is on this center back here on the chest line after you did the back tightening. Then you put it back, or you can just ignore, whichever you want. So for the purpose of this tutorial, that's why I just had to put it back, but normally I just ignore. So this is it. Then on the waistline, you also go ahead and divide your round waist measurement by 4 and add the dart intake. So my round waist measurement is 34 divided by 4 gives me 8.625, plus the 1 inch for the dart intake gives me 9.6275, and that is what I am marking out here on the waistline, and I'll connect this to the bust measurement. So I hope you do understand every part of this tutorial, and if you do not, or whatever part is confusing like I earlier stated, just drop a question in the comment section and I will try my possible best to reply. Now on the blazer length, you also divide your round hip measurement by 4 and mark it out. So my round hip measurement is 43 divided by 4 gives me 10.75, which I marked out, and I'll go ahead and connect it back to the waist measurement like this. So now that I have this, I'll go ahead and draw out the armhole curve, and for the armhole curve as well, you bring in your tape and take your measurement from the shoulder slope to the chest line like this, and you fold over your tape. So after folding it, the marking you get at this point is your midpoint. Then after marking at the midpoint, from that midpoint you come in by half an inch. That is 0.5 inch. Then you're going to connect these 3 points together to get the armhole curve for the back pattern. So I'll go ahead and connect the 3 points together like this. So like I earlier stated, if you don't have your curve rule to carry this out, no problem, you can use your hands, but just make sure you get a perfect nice curve, that is, or near perfect nice curve. That is just it. So also don't forget to come down by 1/2 inch on the side armhole and redraw the armhole just to get some form of ease around the armhole. And the redraw armhole is the new armhole. So I'll just go ahead and bring in my curve rule and redraw the armhole back to the midpoints like this, to the armhole midpoints like this, to get the new armhole. So this is it, guys. So now we are almost done with the back pattern for the blazer. So another most important thing for the blazer is to go in by 1 inch from the neck width. So this is a standard number. You go in by 1 inch from the neck depth on the shoulder like this. So I'll just go ahead and go in by 1 inch. And I'll go ahead and connect this back to the neck depth here using my curve rule. So the reason for this is to just get a perfect collar, be it notched or lapel, whichever. It's just to get a perfect collar for your blazer. So the reason for this, so I'll go ahead and bring in my curve rule and connect this back like this, as you can see. So I'll connect this back. So this is the new neckline for the back pattern. So right now I'll bring in my tape and measure out this new neckline, because this measurement is very important in drafting out the collar for the front pattern. So you go ahead and take the measurement of your back neckline like this. So you can take it more than twice. Be certain that you have the accurate number. You can take it maybe twice or 3 times just to get to be certain that you have the perfect number. So for me, after measuring this new neckline, I have 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches. So I'm going to retake the measurement again on the back neckline. That is the back new neckline like this. Please watch. So I'm retaking the measurement again on this new neckline on the back pattern. And here I have 4.5 inches. So I'll take note of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring in my pen and write down the 4.5 inches at the side here. So these will be put in mind. So I'll keep this in mind, or keep this at the back of my mind. So now that has been sorted out, the next thing is to determine the breaking point for my blazer. Now the breaking point is this particular point that is showing on the screen right now, where the ant emoji is pointing at. So that is where the collar bending will stop. So to determine that, you can go ahead and get a midpoint from your bust point to your waist, or you can go up by 1 inch from your waistline, wherever you want it to be. No problem. It can either be between your bust point and your waistline, the midpoint, or 1 inch above your waistline. Then you go ahead and extend it out. So for me, I want it to be between the bust point and the waist, and I've extended that point out. Next, on my neckline, I'll also go ahead and go in by 1 inch here from the neck width on the shoulder here, and I'll go ahead and bring in my rule and connect it like this to this breaking point here, to the extended breaking point line. And I'll also extend it upward. So please just watch. So I'll go ahead and connect the breaking point here that I extended to this 1 inch I came in with on the neck line like this, on the neck width on the shoulder. Yes, and I'll also extend the line upward till I get to the ending of this paper like this. So this is it. So you just draw this line. It's simple, right? So you just do that. The next step is to mark out the notched point of the collar, the notch collar, precisely where the notch is going to be on the collar. And to do that, you come down from the neck depth by 1.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and come down by 1.5 inches here like this, and I'm going to go ahead and extend this point out and in to meet up with the slanted line, and also extend it outward as well like this. So it's going to give me more of like a plus sign or a cross. So this is it. Now, the next step to getting the notch collar is to go ahead and place your rule in between this little boss here. So you place it in a slanted line like this, in a slanted way like this, and you go ahead and just rule a line extending to the ending of this paper like this, to the ending of the center front. So this is more of like angle 45-degree, right? And then you go ahead and mark out 2 inches on this new line, 2 inches on this slanted line like this. Next, it's time to bring in the measurement that was taken on the back neckline. So for me, I had 4.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark out the 4.5 inches from this 1 inch here on the shoulder. So I'll mark out the 4.5 inches on this slanted line that I extended up like this. And then I'll bring in my rule. So it's time to bring in the rule. So I'll bring in my rule and place it like this on this slanted line, and make sure it stops at this 4.5 inches mark that I just marked out. That is what I had got on my back neckline. So I'll just go ahead and extend it like this using this point of my rule. I hope you can see it. So I'll just extend it till I get to the end of this paper as well. And after doing that, I'll just go ahead and mark out 4 inches from the slanted line like this. So meaning the collar is going to be 4 inches wide. So 4 inches is what I marked out. So I'll go ahead and connect this 4 inches to this 2 inches on this slanted line here. So you can do whatever shape you want. You can do this shape on your collar like this, or this shape like this, whatever shape you want, or you can even make it straight. Whatever shape you want on your collar, it's fine, it's okay. You can go ahead and draw it out. So this is the kind of shape I'm going for. So this is what I'm drawing out. So you can also just draw the reversed kind of shape, any one you want. That is the inward kind of you get. So you can see the notch collar is coming out. So here you can also, on this part of the collar, you can also draw out any kind of shape you also want here. You can, place it like this and draw out a curve, or, just leave it like this, whichever way you want, no problem. So you can see, if you want it like this, no problem, it's going to come out beautiful like this, no problem. Whatever you want, no problem, just do the curve you want. So that is it. So you can see I connected the wideness of the collar to this slanted line, to the 2 inches on the slanted line. Then for this part of the collar, I'll just go ahead and just draw this curve. I think I'm okay with this after long minutes of deciding. So the notched collar is ready. Yeah, so our blazer is fully ready. My blazer is ready. So right now I'll go ahead and cut. So you can see the way I am cutting this out. Please watch. So this is how you cut out the collar. So you just cut out this part of the collar like this and indicates every part. So this part will be on fold here. Then you go ahead and cut out the remaining parts of the blazer. So this is me cutting out the remaining parts of the blazer like this. So please watch to see how it's been cut out. So I'm also cutting out the darts like this. So this is it. So you label every part. Now you go ahead and fold this part. Once you're done sewing, this is how it's going to look like. And once you've sewn in this part of the collar, so you can see the notch collar it's giving already. So this is how it's going to look like after you're done sewing your blazer. So you can see it's beautiful, right? So we'll also go ahead and cut out the back pattern. This is me cutting it out. So please watch. So I also cut out the darts as well like this. So right now my patterns are ready. So take note that this part will be on fold on your collar, and this part is the neckline. So all round it's going to be half an inch allowance when cutting out on your fabric, half an inch allowance, except for this part of the collar that will be on fold. We are indicated with this symbol. So the rest part is going to have half an inch allowance all round. Even the blazer, it's half an inch allowance all round, half an inch here, half an inch here, half an inch all round, half an inch Yes. So that's it. Half an inch allowance all around here as well, like this. So that is it. So this piece one of the blazer, you can see I labeled it piece one, piece two. Yes, so this is the front blazer. So the front pattern of the blazer. So for this piece one, I'm going to be cutting out 4 out of this for on the main fabric, 4 of this for the main fabric. So the main fabric is going to serve as both the fabric and the lining. So I'm cutting out 4 of this from the main fabric, off the main fabric. I don't know the right word to use, but for this piece one, it's going to be 4 of this. Then for this piece two, I'm going to have 2 of this for the main fabric and 2 for the suit lining. So meaning for the piece one, there is nothing like suit lining. Then for this part of the collar, everything is going to also be the main fabric, nothing like suit lining, you get. So meaning for the piece one and the collar, the other part of the collar, there is nothing like suit lining. Rather, the main fabric is going to serve as both the fabric and the lining. Then the rest part as lining, suit lining, and also the main fabric. So same thing with this back pattern. This part are going to also have 2 suit lining and 2 main fabric. So this is me after cutting it out. You can see I have half an inch all round like this, half an inch all round like this. And for the piece one, you can see everything here is the crepe material, which is serving as both the fabric and the lining for the piece one. And for the piece two, you can see I have the crepe material and the suit lining. So that is just it. The crepe is what I'm using as my main fabric. So I don't know, this is it. So this is the suit lining and this is the crepe. So also for the blazer, to have some form of muff, like to make sure that your lining sits perfectly and does not disturb you when you're putting on your blazer, does not come out from your blazer, does not show out, you have to shorten your lining by half an inch, you get. So for the piece one, you can shorten by 1 inch. The reason for shortening by 1 inch is so that there will be some extra ease between the suits, between the main fabric and the lining after, you know, sewing. That's just it. But if not, you can also use half an inch. It does not really matter, but whichever you want, no problem. But just know that if you're using 1 inch, if you're cutting off 1 inch from here, you're going to add 1 inch to the hem of your main fabric. I hope you understand, meaning you won't cut it half an inch all round like I did. Rather, you'll be adding 1 inch to the hem of your main fabric, then you cut out 1 inch from your lining. I hope I'm making sense. But if it confuses you, just go ahead and cut out half an inch while you had half an inch allowance all round your main fabric, all around everything. Then you go ahead and cut out half an inch from both the piece one, the piece two, and the piece three. You get, it's all going to give you the same thing, almost the same thing. Yeah. So here I'm cutting out half an inch here on the piece two lining, as you can see as well. Half an inch. So this is just to make sure that after sewing, your suit lining does not come out from your hem. It does not show. It sits well. You get, it sits well and it looks neat. So you just cut off half an inch from your lining. So that is it for the front pattern. And then I'll go ahead and also iron stay to the main fabrics. I'll iron stay to the main fabrics of this front pattern. Then for the back pattern, as you can also see, I also went ahead half an inch all round, as you can see, and I have the crepe and the suit lining as well. So you can see half an inch all round. So I also go ahead and, you know, cut out half an inch from the suit lining like this. Half an inch, that's what I'm going to cut out. Half an inch. So if you enjoyed this video and if this video was helpful to you, please do well to hit the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up. So once I'm done with this, I'll also go ahead and iron the stay to the main fabric as well. I'll also go ahead and iron stay to the main fabric as well. So guys, I had to stop here and create a separate video for the sewing of this blazer. So if you would like to see that as well, the link to the video will be on the comment section. I'll pin it on the comment section or leave it on the description box, so you go ahead and watch it. So see you on that video. Love ya.